Alright, got another video for you guys. Today we're going to be working on animations and the script that plays the animation and basic movement for our character. So in the last couple of videos we've created some actual animations for our characters. Here's an idle animation, power attack, and a walk animation. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to start out by giving our character a script. I'm going to click on this Alien 2 Bones here. I'm going to add a script. You're going to want to make sure you put this in the correct folder. So I'm going to put it in my scripts folder, characters, and I'll name this one my online series 1. Alright, so let's go ahead and create. This is a kinematic body script. It extends to the kinematic body. Alright, so we want to make some movement for our character. You don't always have to start fresh. You don't have to always start from nowhere. You can start with some basic templates. If you'll click on the online docs button right up here, looks like a little link. It'll take you to the go.docs where you can find some templates that have movement. So you can use those as a template and build onto them. Now these aren't going to have everything you need, but it'll get you started. Under tutorials, click on 2D, then go to 2D movement overview. Here are the different movements, and 8-way movement is the one we are going to be using. I'm going to copy this code. So copy. And then I'm just going to paste this here. Now, one thing that copying and pasting does is it messes up your tabbing or indentation level. So I'm going to go ahead and fix that. You want to make sure you don't mix tabs and spaces. It'll give you, there's that wonderful error right there. Mixed tabs and spaces in indentation. So I'm just going to change these all to tabs. And so we can get rid of that little error. Now, I always like to use tabs. I don't know, it's just better for me. So here we go. I'm just going to get rid of all these. First step. Sometimes it can be an annoying error, but there we go. Alright, so I've replaced all the spaces with tabs. Now, at the top, I'm going to give this a comment so I can tell myself what is it that I'm coding. This is the Alien 02 Bones for my online series. Alright, let's go ahead and start by programming the characters. Or actually, let's play the scene. We got our code here. Let's go ahead and play the scene. Let's see what happens. So I can already move my character around by using the keys. Now, you may have copied and pasted it in and your stuff's not moving like mine. Let me show you why. Right here where you choose what action is being pressed, right, left, down, and up, I have already programmed these buttons. You may have not. Let me show you how you program the buttons. Click on Project, go to Project Settings, Input Map, and under the input map you have all the different buttons that you have programmed in the game. Some of them are pre-built, some of them you can create your own. And right here you can see I've created my own. The UI ones are pretty much pre-built. I've made other ones: idle, jump, power attack, phantom warp, phantom clear, up, down, left, and right. If you want to create a new button, you just type in the name of that, like, I don't know, hop, I don't know, whatever you think. Click add. In the bottom right, oops, I got some messages here from my friends on Origin. Let me close that. Go away, no games right now. Okay, so you create the action, hop. Then if you hit the plus sign here, you can choose what key. You can even use multiple keys and a joystick if you wanted. Like, let's say A, and then if you wanted to add like a joystick axis, you could do that too. Alright, I don't really need that, so I'm going to get rid of it. All right, so you want to add right, left, up, and down. Now, you'll notice the spelling of these two have to be the exact same. You can change either one just to make a match. All right, now after you get that, you should be able to move your character around the screen with just regular movement. However, the character is not playing that wonderful animation that you made. See if we can fix that. So what controls all of the animations? What controls them being played? That would be the animation player. So when I press to the right, I want the animation player to play one of the animations. If you use the $sign, you can grab one of these nodes and it lists them all here. So I want to grab the animation player and I want it to play something. What do I want it to play? I want it to play the walk animation. This will play the walk animation. Okay. Alright, so now if I play this again, you'll see that my walk animation is playing. However, my character is not walking in the correct direction unless I'm going to the left. Okay, so left works, but when I'm going right, it does not. Now, typically what we would do is we would just come to these... we would typically only have one sprite that we were manipulating. That's what we were used to do. But now we have a whole bunch of sprites to turn around. You can turn around one single sprite by going to offset and doing flip H. But you have a whole bunch of things to actually flip. I don't want to write a huge script to just flip all these sprites. So what we want to do is we want to flip the parent or the kinematic body. If we can flip that one, it will flip all of the children with it, including the animations. Okay, so there's not a nice neat button like we had over here in the offset of the sprite where we can just click it and it flips. There's not a nice neat little toggle here, so we're going to have to create our own way to do that. If you take a look under transform, you have the scale. One way to flip your character is to multiply by -1. So I'm changing the X scale to -1, and you'll notice that my character flips directions. So in between 1 and -1, it's going to either flip left and right. You could also do the same with the Y, and that would flip vertical. Alright, so now we know that we can flip our character by multiplying by -1. So let's go back to our script, go to the moving to the right, and we're going to say scale.x because we only want to change one of the X and Y. We don't want to change both of them, we just want to change the X. So I'm going to multiply by -1. Alright, so now a lot of times whenever you try to fix something in coding, you end up breaking something else. This is going to be an example of that. Let's take a look at this break that we just created. Now when I move to the right, you can see, oh wow, that looks crazy. My character is wanting to flip over and over and over again. So every frame he's flipping. Well, that's not what I want. Well, maybe you think, oh, Mr. Eversole, you shouldn't multiply by -1. You should just set it to -1. Okay, let's give that a shot. We're just setting it to -1. And we get the exact same problem. Now, what's happening is Godot says, hey, negative scale doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Everything has to have a positive scale. So it flips the sprite and then immediately turns the number back to positive. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to create a variable to keep track of whether our character is flipped or not. So I'm going to create a variable and I'm going to call it flipped. And I'm going to start it off as false. And I'll make a comment for myself here too. This tracks our characters flipping or flip. this tracks our character's flip, whether our character is flipped left or right. Okay, so at first it's false, meaning we have it facing to the left. Now, whenever you walk to the right, you want to flip it. So I will say if flipped is equal to false, that must mean it's facing to the left, and I need to flip it. So let's use that scale here. We'll multiply by -1, and then we'll go ahead and change the our toggle here, or our tracker, back to true, or change it to true. Alright, so let me make some more comments here. Does the character need to flip? If it does, then you're going to flip it. And update the tracker, I suppose. Update the flip tracker. And then I'll even make an extra note for myself. True is right. Okay, let's play this again. And now my character only flips one time. Perfect. One problem though, to the left doesn't flip. Let's go ahead and extend the code that we just created. So I'll type it out. I usually copy paste. I feel like typing it. Let's do this all again. So if you're pushing to the left, you want the animation player to play the walk animation. If, and this time it's going to be the opposite. If flipped is equal to true, then we want to flip it. So we'll say scale dot x times equals -1, not 4, 1. And then flipped is now false. All right, I'm going to re-put my comments here again. Does the character need to flip? If this is the case, if this is true, then we'll flip it. Otherwise, or after we flip it, update the flip tracker with false being to the left. Right there. All right, wonderful, great, awesome. All right, so let's take a look at this code right here. This is the input function. This function plays anytime we want to press a button. So if a button is pressed, then this function plays. All right. If we just keep adding stuff to this function like we've been doing, like we're eventually going to add an idle, we're going to add an attack, we're going to add a jump, we maybe even, I don't know, something else, teleport, warp, who knows. That is going to cause this function to become massive. It's not something we want. So what we're going to do is we're going to make little functions to hold all of our little actions. So we can compartmentalize. When we need to fix the walking animation, we can go to a walking function. So let's start that. So I'll say function, I'll call this one walk R. So when you're walking to the right, when you want your character to walk to the right, you're going to call this function. So we can just take all of the stuff we made right here and let's move it. So I'll cut this. So I'll highlight everything and right click and say cut, and then I'll paste it here. You'll notice it gave me an extra tab. I'm going to get rid of that extra tab. And now anytime I want my character to walk to the right, or if I push the right button or action, I want to play the walk R function. I'll give myself a note here. I'll say walk R. Or, okay, actually I'll say, this function controls the walking and movement of the character. Okay, so if you push to the right, that means we want our character to walk to the right, and I've made a nice neat little function here. If action right was pressed, play the walk right function. Alright, we're going to do the exact same thing with the left just to keep ourselves organized. Function walk L, and this is going to walk L and then colon. Oof. Alright, so we're going to do the same thing here. I'm going to grab all of the left movements right here, and I'm going to move them into my new function, and I'm going to get rid of that tab again. Alright, now if we press the left key, we want our character to do the walking to the left stuff, which is all contained in that function. There we go. Now this stuff is able to be moved to the bottom anytime I need to troubleshoot walking or add something to walking or whatever. I can come down to these two functions and change it. We're going to use the same principle to create a attack function. My attack, I think I called it power attack or something. Yeah, power attack. I'm going to go ahead and make a power attack function. So I'll say function power attack. Now these function names, they're not specific. It doesn't have to be named power attack. You can name it anything you want. So if you wanted to make a jump animation, you would just call it jump, or literally whatever. You could call it hamburger, whatever you want. But so this name is completely up to you. I like to write names that make sense. It helps me in the future. So if I'm going to create this power attack function, probably needs to start off with the animation player playing the power attack function. So there it is. Alright, so I've created this function. It doesn't really do a whole lot right now because I'm not ready for that part, but it does play the power attack animation that I created. Now all we need to do is create a button and a function, or a call to it. We need to be able to tell this function to play. So I'll do is I'll come up here, and just like I have these other right, left, up, and down, I'm going to say if input dot is action pressed, and these are all the other buttons I made. You just want to make yourself an attack or a jump, and I'm using power attack. So if I press the power attack button, that happens to be the letter F for me, I want this function to play. So I'm going to say power attack. So if the user presses the power attack button, jump down here to power attack, or play the power attack function, it jumps down here and plays power attack. Let's see what it looks like. See if this stuff is working, if we got any errors. We can walk to the left, or I mean right, left, and then if I push F, boom, hit him with that hammer. Drop the hammer. Yep, we got it. Cool, cool. Looking good, looking good. Alright, that's all we're going to do for this video. Hope you guys learned something, and have a great day, and I'll see y'all in the next one.